Okay, so are you ever looking at your retirement savings and feeling, well, a little uncertain?
It's a pretty common feeling, I think.
Yeah, well, especially with inflation being what it is, you start wondering, how can I make things feel a bit more uh, stable?
Absolutely. And people are exploring different options. One thing that comes up quite a bit is this idea of a gold IRA.
Right, the idea you can actually hold physical gold, real metal, inside your retirement account.
Exactly. It sounds appealing, holding something tangible. But like anything in finance, you really need to get into the details.
Uh-huh.
And with gold IRAs, the IRS has some pretty specific rules about what gold you can actually put in there.
So that's what we're digging into today. What types of gold actually get the thumbs up from the IRS for these accounts?
Precisely. We've been looking at a really informative piece by Doug Young. He's got a lot of experience in finance, precious metals.
Right, a solid source. And our goal here is to, cut through the noise for you, explain what's allowed, what's not, and maybe why.
Yeah, the why is important.
So by the end, if you're thinking about a gold IRA, maybe to diversify things a bit, you'll have a much clearer picture. Avoid some common mistakes, hopefully.
Okay, so let's start right there. Why does the IRS care what kind of gold is in your IRA? Isn't gold just gold?
Good question. That seems a bit odd at first.
Well, based on what Doug Young lays out, it really comes down to ensuring the gold is reliable, that it's going to hold its value over, the long term.
Like a quality control thing for your retirement funds.
Sort of, yeah. It's about protecting the integrity of the retirement account. And this ties into the role of the custodian, the company that actually holds the gold for you. They have to follow these rules.
Okay, so it's about value and integrity. How does the IRS measure that?
The big factor is purity. That's key.
Ah, purity. Right. The article mentions a specific standard.
Yes, it has to be at least 99.5% pure gold.
99.5%. That sounds really high. Why that specific number?
Well, it's not just pulled out of thin air. It reflects an established standard for what's called investment-grade bullion, basically gold that's easily traded international.
Okay, so it makes it easier to value and sell later on.
Exactly. High purity means less guesswork about its actual gold content. And reputable mints, the big players, they produce gold that meets or often exceeds this standard.
Makes sense. So 99.5% pure is the benchmark. What kind of gold products actually meet this?
Well, one common form is gold bullion bars.
Just straightforward bars of gold.
Pretty much. But the crucial thing is they have to be made by a recognized refiner or assayer, someone the industry trusts.
Gotcha. Not just any bar you find somewhere.
No, definitely not. And of course, they have to meet that 99.5% minimum purity.
And these can be pretty hefty, right? The article mentioned sizes from 1 ounce up to, 400 ounces?
Yeah, they can represent a significant holding. So bars are definitely an option for adding, a substantial amount of gold.
Okay, so bars from recognized refiners. What else qualifies? Coins.
Yes, certain gold coins minted by governments can also go into a gold IRA. Again, provided they meet the purity rules.
Government coins, okay.
Yeah.
Like the ones people might already know.
Exactly. And the article highlights a few key examples. Maybe start with the American Gold Eagle. It's probably the most familiar one in the U.S.
Right, the eagle. But isn't there something different about its purity?
Ah, good point. Yes, the American Gold Eagle is actually an interesting exception. It's slightly less than 99.5% pure gold. It contains small amounts of silver and copper for durability.
So why is it allowed then, if it doesn't meet the main rule?
It really comes down to how widely recognized and easily traded it is. It's extremely liquid. The U.S. Mint makes them, they come in different sizes. Basically, the market trusts it, so the IRS makes an exception.
Huh. So market acceptance can sometimes override the strict purity number.
Yeah.
Interesting. What about coins from other countries, like Canada?
Yes, the Canadian gold maple leaf is another very popular one. And this one does meet the purity standard easily.
How pure is it?
It's actually 99.99% pure gold. 4 nines fine, they call it.
Wow, that's very pure.
It is. And it's minted by the Royal Canadian Mint, globally recognized. People like the high purity, the detailed design, and the government backing. It's a very solid choice.
Okay, so the maple leaf hits that high purity mark. Any others mentioned?
The Australian gold kangaroo is another good example. Also 99.99% pure, made by the Perth Mint.
Kangaroos. What's special about that one besides the purity?
Well, one unique thing is the design changes every year, which adds a little bit of maybe collector interest for some people, although it's primarily bought for its gold content.
Oh, okay. But still meets the main criteria. High purity, government mint, recognized.
Exactly. It's well regarded internationally, good liquidity, a solid option for an IRA.
It's neat how different countries have these high-quality options. Now, you mentioned earlier we often say gold IRA, but it's not just gold, is it?
That's a really important clarification. Yes, these are technically precious metals IRAs. You can hold other metals besides gold.
Like silver, platinum?
Yes, certain high-purity silver, platinum, and even palladium coins from recognized government mints are also eligible.
Okay, which one specifically for silver?
For silver, think along the lines of the American silver eagle, the Canadian silver maple leaf, the Australian kookaburra, Austrian philharmonic, Mexican libertad. Again, meeting high purity standards, typically 0.999 or higher for silver.
And for platinum?
Eligible platinum coins include the American platinum eagle, the Australian platinum koala, the Canadian platinum maple leaf, and the Isle of Man noble coin. Platinum needs to be even purer, generally 0.99995. Fine.
Wow. Okay, so quite a few coin options across different metals. What about bars and rounds of these other metals? Can you hold those too?
Yes, you can. But similar rules apply as with gold bars. They need to be produced by accredited manufacturers. Think big exchanges like NYMEX, COMEX, LBMA, or National Mints, and meet minimum fineness levels.
Which hole?
For gold and silver bars or rounds, it's 0.999 plus fineness. For platinum and palladium, it's 0.9995 plus fineness.
So, very specific standards across the board. And the article made a point about certified or slabbed coins.
Right. That's a key exclusion. Even if a coin is gold or silver, if it's been graded and encapsulated by a third-party grading service, slabbed, as they call it, it's generally not allowed in a precious metals IRA currently.
Why is that?
Because their value often includes a premium based on the grade, the rarity, the collectability, not just the metal content. The IRS rules focus on the intrinsic bullion value for these accounts.
Okay, so it keeps the focus squarely on the metal itself, not collector value.
Exactly. Which brings us neatly to what else is definitely not allowed.
Right, the exclusions. What should people absolutely avoid trying to put in a gold IRA?
Well, the big one is collectible coins or numismatic coins.
Even if they're made of gold or silver?
Yes. If their value is mainly driven by rarity, historical importance, condition, things like that, the IRS views them as collectibles, and collectibles are generally prohibited in IRAs.
So that old coin from your grandpa, probably not eligible.
Probably not, unless its value is almost entirely just its metal content, which is rare for truly old or rare coins.
What else is out?
Gold jewelry, definitely not allowed.
Makes sense. The purity is usually lower, and the value is tied up in the design and craftsmanship.
Precisely. Same goes for gold-plated items or anything that doesn't meet those strict purity minimums. It has to be investment-grade bullion.
Okay, crystal clear. Bullion bars and specific coins in, collectibles and jewelry out. Now storage. You mentioned you don't keep it yourself.
Absolutely not. That's a huge point. The IRS rules are very strict here. All the precious metals in your IRA must be stored in an IRS-approved depository.
A special vault facility?
Essentially, yes. A third-party, highly secure facility that meets IRS requirements. You, the investor, never take physical possession while it's in the IRA.
So who arranges that?
That's where the custodian comes in. You need an IRS-approved custodian for your precious metals IRA, and they handle the transactions and arrange the storage with an approved depository.
The custodian manages it. Do you get to choose the depository?
Usually, yes. The custodian will provide a list of the approved depositories they work with, and you can select one.
What should you look for when choosing?
Key things are, naturally, security measures. Also, location, insurance, and the depository's overall reputation and track record. You want peace of mind.
Makes sense. Okay, we know what gold or metal qualifies and where it's kept. Let's circle back to the bigger picture. Why do this at all? What are the main benefits people see in adding gold to their IRA?
Well, one of the most talked about reasons is using gold as a potential hedge against inflation.
How does that work?
Historically, gold has often held its value or even increased when the purchasing power of currencies like the dollar goes down due to inflation, so it can potentially preserve your buying power over time. Though it's fair to say its performance can vary depending on the type of inflation.
Okay, so it's a potential inflation buffer. What else?
Diversification, that's a really big one for portfolio management.
Meaning it doesn't always move in the same direction as stocks or bonds?
Exactly. Gold is often considered non-correlated or sometimes inversely correlated. So when stocks are down, gold might hold steady or even go up, potentially smoothing out the overall bumps in your retirement portfolio.
So it adds a different kind of asset, reducing reliance on just one market.
That's the idea. It spreads the risk. And related to that is the idea of gold as a safe haven.
Meaning?
In times of major economic stress, market crashes, or geopolitical uncertainty, investors historically tend to turn to gold as a reliable store of wealth. It has that long history of being valued.
So, stability in rocky times.
Potentially, yes. It can offer a sense of security when other assets feel volatile.
Okay, so hedging inflation, diversification, and stability. Those are compelling arguments. Now, the article touched on some practical questions people often have.
The FAQs, yeah. Always helpful.
Like, why do you need both a gold IRA company and a custodian? Don't they do the same thing?
That's a great question. It can seem confusing. They have distinct roles, though. Think of the gold IRA company as the facilitator, especially at the start.
How so?
They usually help you set up the account, fund it, choose the metals, buy them, and coordinate everything. They're often the ones you interact with most directly for the purchase.
Okay, the setup and buying part. What about the custodian then?
The custodian is the official IRS-approved entity that actually holds the IRA assets, handles the required IRS reporting, and ensures compliance with all the rules, including arranging that depository storage we talked about. They are the legal trustee.
So the company helps you buy, the custodian holds and reports.
You got it. And Doug Young mentioned it's often smoother if the gold IRA company you work with already has a good relationship with the custodian they recommend. Less hassle.
Good tip. Okay, another big question. Can I put gold I already own, say, some Maple Leaf coins I bought years ago into my new gold IRA?
The answer to that is almost always no.
Really? Why not?
The rules generally require that all assets going into the IRA must be purchased through the IRA structure itself via the custodian or facilitated by the gold IRA company. You can't just contribute metals you already possess directly.
So it has to be a fresh purchase specifically for the IRA.
Correct. It maintains a clear chain of custody and ensures everything meets the standards right from the start.
Okay, that's crucial to understand. Finally, costs. What kind of fees are involved?
Yeah, it's not free. You typically have custodian fees, annual account maintenance fees, then you have storage fees from the depository, which can depend on how much metal you have and where it's stored.
Any other costs?
There might be transaction fees when you buy or sell the metals, and the initial setup might have a fee. The article gives a ballpark for the gold IRA company, and custodian fees may be $50 to $150 per year, but storage can add more. You need to factor those ongoing costs in.
Right. Get a clear picture of all the fees up front. Okay, let's try and wrap this up. Key takeaways.
I'd say number one, purity matters. 99.5% for gold generally, with that eagle exception. Higher for platinum and palladium.
Number two, eligible forms are specific bullion bars and government coins. No collectibles, no jewelry.
Absolutely. Number three, storage is mandatory in an IRS-approved depository, managed by your custodian. You don't hold it yourself.
And number four, understand the roles of the gold IRA company versus the custodian, and know you can't add gold you already own.
Perfect summary. Getting those points clear is really vital if you're seriously looking into this.
It all comes back to making informed choices for your retirement, doesn't it? Knowing these rules helps you decide if diversifying with gold is the right move for you and how to do it correctly.
Exactly. It prevents potential headaches and penalties down the road.
So maybe something for you, the listener, to think about. How might adding an asset like gold, something tangible and historically significant, fit into your own long-term financial picture?
Yeah, maybe do a little research on how gold has performed during different economic times. Does its potential for stability appeal to you, given your other investments?
It's about thinking how that non-traditional piece might affect the overall strength and resilience of your retirement plan.
Definitely worth considering. And if you are interested, the next step would be to look deeper into the specific IRS guidelines, or perhaps research some reputable gold IRA companies and custodians to learn more about their services and fees.
Get the specifics for your own situation. Great advice.